Vannesa is William Afton's daughter. That's right, we're here for the FNAF movie spoiler discussion. We're talking spoilers, all of that sort of thing. We didn't even give you a second if you wanted to click off this video. We just spoiled them all. We've just spoiled. This is what I do when I record videos. I'm like, we've just spoiled the movie for you. That's right. The FNAF movie is here. There's so much to talk about. We're talking lore, we're talking Easter eggs,
we're talking Balloon Boy.
Oh, you've just done it again. People are going to hate us. Do you know who that is?
No.
Hang on.
He's got the dictionary. Oh, no, it's got a logo for Balloon Boy. Oh, it's the guy who's scaring everyone.
You know that little guy?
Yeah.
That, just show it to the camera, just because they'll probably be like, what the hell is he holding? It's in focus, don't worry. It might be a good place to start, actually. Don't worry about it too much. Are we out of focus now? Probably. But we'll get into Balloon Boy a little bit later. Yeah. I think maybe, because we were just discussing, how do we formulate our thoughts on this and how do we discuss it? We'll try to take it from the top and then just see where this discussion takes us. So where did the movie start? It began with
the previous
security guard, yeah, and he was being terrorized. So that was a really nice intro scene, actually.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of set the tone.
Yeah.
The tone that movie, that first opening scene set, I was like, oh yes, they've got it. Mm-hmm. They've got it. And it's going to be like this throughout, and it wasn't.
We're in for some horror.
Yeah.
But we weren't.
And if I'm rightly, was that when the scene where Bonnie and Chica stand and put the cupcake through the vents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And send him through to get him. So
and Chica winks at him.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he gets his comeuppance. And then we go into the opening intro scene, which is a play on
the games.
On the games. Mm-hmm. So you've got the little mini game sections. Again, I love it when they sort of hint at the movies. The Sonic end credits always do that. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I like it when they do the credits at the start as well.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like that. And that's again another 90s, 80s inspired thing where you sort of have the credits come in.
Yeah, which the film felt heavily like influenced by, didn't it?
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah, I did like. Yeah, that was true. Yeah, they did do that. So that was fun. And then where did we head off from that point?
The security guard was going to have a fight with someone. That happened. Basically, he saw someone who he thought was getting kidnapped, didn't he? But it turned out to be the child's father, and basically rugby tackled him into the fountain. Mm-hmm. He gets sacked.
They kind of glossed over that very quickly.
Yeah, they didn't make a big deal out of it. He kind of just got sacked, didn't get into trouble, and then he was like, "You need to go get another job."
Yeah, you said there should have probably been more maybe comeuppance for.
No, I understand like part of the film. It's not really necessary. Like, but yeah, it was kind of strange that they were like, instead of being arrested, he was like at the job centre.
Yeah, they did. It was a quick cut, wasn't it? And you were like, he was sitting somewhere. You're like, oh, is he going back to speak to his boss? And he was like, oh no, he's getting another job. Yeah, I get what you mean by that. But what was interesting about that scene, it was like that got leaked early. Them filming that. Yeah. And I think pretty much everybody was right.
Yeah.
That he was going to get fired because of something that happened to his brother.
Yeah. And that's how he ends up at.
Fazbear's, yeah, so that was pretty spot on prediction. So then I actually thought, I was like, wow, this film's moving quick. Mm-hmm. We've seen the previous security guard, we set up Freddy Fazbear's, we've met Mike, he's been fired, and then we meet, who I don't know if you would have known at that point, is the main villain of this whole franchise.
So when...
Steve Raglan. A.k.a. William Afton.
That's the guy. I knew something suspicious was happening with him because I know he didn't want to give him the job. He was trying to decide whether or not he should.
So the way Matthew Lillard was playing it, you knew something was up.
Yeah. But otherwise, he was pretty innocuous. I didn't really think about it after that at all.
Yeah, until we put Buck up at the end.
Until right at the end, where I was like, wait, I recognise that guy.
Well, yeah, like I said, I thought it was moving really fast. I couldn't believe we met him so early, and I also thought because of that was pretty much everything we'd seen from him in the trailers. So I was like, oh, there's going to be a lot more of him in the film, and there wasn't. But I really liked his portrayal in that scene. I liked how they're sort of his dynamic, and I thought he came across as kind of a sinister villain that could carry a franchise. So, and where he will go in the future, I enjoyed that.
Yep. And he did when he smashed through his spring bonnie.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's like I was expecting. Oh, he's going to pop up. He'll be ringing, and
because it was kind of, even I know about that part, like the iconic, like the person calling to check up on the character,
the phone guy.
The phone guy, yeah. So I thought, yeah, he probably should have been kind of a bigger role, really. I think narrative, like in terms of the story as well, it would have made a lot more sense as well. Especially as like what you just mentioned, he kind of he's right at the beginning and then also right at the end. It is not very clear, like who you should be scared of.
I get what you mean, yeah. Because isn't in cinema, when you're writing, you have to do the rule of 3. You have to tell your audience something 3 times.
Yeah, I guess so.
And we only really, I guess, it was different because I knew from the beginning, as soon as I saw him, he's going to be the villain.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you went in for the first time and saw that guy, you didn't have any teasers throughout. But I guess they kind of had a whodunit, because at times I was thinking Vanessa's going to be something's weird with her. Yeah. So maybe they were more hinting who could it be.
That she'd be working for Afton, didn't they? Not that.
Maybe that's what they were trying to do instead. They had Mike's aunt, Vannesa, and him. So they had these sort of weird characters, and was like, who's really sort of the mastermind here? Yeah. I'm not sure if maybe they should have included a bit more of him or not. But so we were on the scene where he's getting the job. He actually turns down the job, doesn't he, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah. Because of Abby. Because
he doesn't say his last name. He goes, Mike, shh. Yeah. Because he killed his son. Yeah. His son, his brother.
His brother, yeah.
So that's the reason why he stops himself.
Oh, he kidnapped Gary.
Yeah. Because I originally thought for a second, because a lot of theories beforehand...
That's going to be his dad.
Yeah, a lot of people... Because in the lore, Mike and William, Steve, are related.
Okay.
So when he said Mike... I thought he was going to be like... That was his
realisation.
Yeah, he was like, this is my, like, given name or something. Right. So there was still a, like, part of me then thinking, it's going to be Mike Afton. Yeah. So where do we go after that? We head back and kind of find out about how Abby and Michael live in. Yeah,
their relationship.
Their dynamics.
Obviously, because Mike's dealing with the trauma of seeing his brother get kidnapped by who we now know was William Afton, Steve Raglan. And he's trying to obviously look after his sister, Abby, and the film kind of heavily focuses on that sibling dynamic and them trying to figure that out.
And anybody who's watched the behind the scenes series, there was a moment, I can't remember, I need, like I said, rewatch the film, where she said about, you're sitting on my friend when he was on the bed.
Oh yeah, our imaginary friend.
Yeah, that was
right
that early on? Was that early on? It was. And that was a scene that was leaked between 2 test actors. Right. So all that dialogue was used, but in the test audio, we speculated it was going to be Max, the babysitter, and Abby. Yeah. But it was actually Mike and that doing it, and it was performed very differently because he was kind of being kind of cheeky with it. Yeah. Whereas that was like, it was shot very cinematically, the leaked scene.
Yeah, because then we go on to Max, don't we? Because she obviously...
I thought she was really well cast. I bought her as a babysitter.
She gets propositioned by the aunt, doesn't she?
And I actually liked the scene for some reason while she was watching TV, and there was like a ring commercial, and she was like, I wish somebody would buy me a ring. I almost felt in a way that I was like, oh, does she kind of like Mike? Because she was doing it for free. Yeah. And I was like, oh, she's like hinting at a ring, and he wasn't really giving her much. And I kind of felt bad for her, because I was like, I don't think she the gang that she was with, I didn't feel like she was that interested in being a part of them. She was just kind of doing it.
Just going along with it.
It was her brother, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realise they were brother and sister, but I liked her. I thought she was really well cast. I was like, I'd buy her as a babysitter. I felt like...
Well, you wouldn't.
Huh? No, you wouldn't. No, it would be like, do it for free. So when do we get to the first night? So
he gets the job, and so there's a bit in between where he has a discussion with his aunt, with the school therapist.
That's right. So just touch on that character quick. That she was shown in none of the trailers.
No.
And there was a lot of hints of she is a cold, icy character. Basically, the production note said that could have ulterior motives. So in my head, I was speculating, I was ready. She is in cahoots with William Afton. She runs a sister location. We're going to set up a sequel. She's all about the animatronics. She's going to try to take Abby and give her to William Afton. Didn't seem like that. I think she was just a Karen, right? Yeah. But maybe that's quite good because they were kind of like leading me to like who that character is. She was nothing. I don't really.
Mike said he was like, she only wants custody of Abby to get the paycheck, like the monthly like childcare support.
I didn't buy that as a writing because she seemed fairly well to do.
Yeah, she did.
Like she seemed like quite. She could pay for a lawyer to follow her around everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, she doesn't want the kid.
Yeah,
just for a paycheck.
Just like her, like sort of just wanting more money, like that kind of, you know.
It does seem like
I didn't buy that.
Plot device, and we didn't really get to know the character very well. But I guess we have to just kind of throw our own opinions onto what we think of the person or of the character. Yeah. All the scenes that she was in, I think it made us kind of understand things better. It also gave us a lot more reason to care about Abby.
Yeah, she kind of worked as a character because she kind of made Mike realise that Abby did, because Mike was so like out of it and into himself that he didn't even think Abby cared about him. And you could see like when she was like, I don't want to. There was a funny line she said about she smells of like cigarettes or something, and the fact that her unwillingness to go with Aunt Jane was kind of showed a lot more about how Abby felt about Mike, because I felt like there was more potential for the character. Maybe I really like the actress. Is it Mary Stuart Masterson? I thought she was having fun in the role, and and I really liked her performance. I mean, that's the thing, is like in my head I was kind of set up that she was going to be a bigger deal, so I've got to be like, no, that's just like what I.
Well, like we said in the non-spoiler review, we went in expecting something and came out with something completely different. So
yeah, really. So
I think after that he realizes that he has to take a job if he wants to stay with Abby, and that's where he goes.
Brings us to the
that's
first
right.
night.
Yeah, so we're in the first night. So what's all?
Not a lot happens.
Not a lot happens in the first night.
He falls asleep, and this is when the dream sequences, because that's quite heavy in the film, isn't it? His dreams.
Okay, so I've got something to say about the dream sequences. So the first one is the barbecue scene, right?
Yeah, so that's when we realise that his brother Garrett was kidnapped, but we don't know by who at this point. We just see how it happens.
So just without, I guess, because it happens multiple times, I was like, the first dream sequence, even the first one, I was like...
It's very stereotypical.
It is. It was just like, it gave me GCSE drama.
Yeah,
like you would have
the alarm, and I was like,
I was like, they were trying to do the most because they had the book to explain, like he had this idea of like, what was it, dream theory? What was the theory that he had? He was reading about?
You always remember everything in your dreams. You just need to be able to access it. And
yeah, and I like that they were trying to do the work to justify it. But those were my least favourite parts of the movie, when we kept going back to them. And God bless all the kids. Everybody in those scenes did a really good job.
It made I think they actually added a little bit to the film to make it a bit more creepy, because obviously like weird kids.
I didn't find them weird.
I didn't.
I didn't. No. I thought I was like, if you're going to do that, make them weirder.
You need like a creepy kid, like, you know, like a girl from like The Ring. They were just kind of like they didn't even like, because they
were dead kids. So like, I know that it had a certain age rating, so I don't know what you could get away with.
But even like the dialogue and things, it was just like, because Bonnie was quite as a ghost child in Mike's dreams is quite heavily featured, and it was just. There wasn't much to him, do you know what I mean? the kid.
I think that was Golden Freddy, wasn't it? The one in the brown shirt.
No, and the one that was talking, and the kid that was
the blonde kid.
Yeah,
that was Golden Freddy, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Right, cut that out.
Did you know all the kids were representing different animatronics?
Yeah, I got that.
Oh, okay, you got yeah, okay.
So I wanted to.
I got the Foxy kid because they literally showed a scene of him like switching with Foxy.
And he had a hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that'll do it. And there was only one girl who would have been Chica.
Yeah,
so I was like, yeah.
Chica slid.
But the thing that in the non-spoiler review, I was like, there's a scene where it was like classic horror. And the one I was talking about is like one of the first times he has a dream inside of the pizzeria. It was kind of out of place because it doesn't really happen any other time in the film. He looks at one of the kids and then their eyes, and I don't know if it was their eyes or their nose.
Oh yeah,
like
the
had,
black,
like, black eyes
yeah.
and like started bleeding.
It was given Billie Eilish music.
See, that was cool. I think that was early on, wasn't it?
I think that was probably one of the most like horror.
That was like when, yeah.
And that
really
seems like now, like thinking about that, really like out of place to the rest of the film.
It does
like,
in a weird
they
way,
didn't,
doesn't it? Yeah,
they didn't
right.
sort of carry that theme throughout.
Yeah, I think they kind of maybe they just wanted to show that they're like dead.
Yeah.
Or they're just not normal kids.
Yeah, maybe that was
I think
that.
there could have been even like a few more subtle costuming. I don't know if it was the writing or the costume or what, but just more subtle hints
Make
just to
paler.
make it look paler, scarier, a little bit more, like
dishevelled.
Yeah,
because the way they're presented is just really strange kids.
They just look like normal kids to me.
Yeah.
Like if I walked up, like if I was walking in a park and I saw those kids, I was like, "There's just a bunch of normal kids just dressed up."
Yeah.
They didn't seem particularly spooky, and I don't know.
I mean, the reality of it was pretty gruesome, with them being like their body parts just out of the animatronic.
When she was telling me that, and when she said that later in the film about that, and I was like, oh, so why couldn't we have done a little bit more of actually building up these kids? Because they are very integral parts of the lore, so you had to have these ghost kids and explain.
Yeah.
And then I also don't like, for like, because they were supposed to be ghosts, sometimes they're represented in real life as their human forms.
I mean, so that's a huge thing. I'm like, are they real? Are they not?
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's great bait for MatPat and the theorist community to be like, make 100 different theories about the ghost kids.
Yeah.
But I was just, I don't know. They weren't doing enough for me for the fact that we kept returning to them for me to want to
With that
keep
being
returning
such a big
to them.
element
of
the lore as well.
I would have liked to have, I don't know, either do one time, set it up, get it over with, it's over.
Yeah.
And
we know who
leave
they
a
are
few
now.
hints for the theorists because we need to do that in FNAF and just send it on its way. Or if you're going to keep returning to them, I don't want to, because they're kids, so I don't want to say the performance. I don't think it's the kids' fault. I think it's the writing, the way they were written, and just the team around them, that how they told them to perform these scenes. I was just like...
And they were trying to set up, obviously, so we find out that they want to make Abby like them. So it was kind of setting up for that, wasn't it? But it was like, but why? Why did they want to make Abby like them? That's what I don't understand. I think there's a few plot points and things in the narrative that are a little confusing, and that confused me. Why do they want to make Abby like them?
That's the thing with these sort of things. When you ask a question like that, it's like, well, then you can just send it over, and there'll be like 20 million YouTube video theories about why they wanted to.
So is that just left open to
interpretation and theories? I mean, I heard when we were sitting in the theatre, somebody, when we during the credits were rolling, walking out, and they were saying something about, I reckon Abby was... So people were already theorising as soon as the credits were rolling. I was like, that's kind of what that this franchise and community is about. Yeah. To touch on that, I felt like the first night was too uneventful.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, I was like, the film's called Five Nights at Freddy's. All the trailers were, can you survive 5 nights? 5 nights at Freddy's. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, at least... him falling asleep on the job and the animatronics doing nothing to him was kind of like, it's not really a scary place to be.
No, especially when they were
and
like.
then Elizabeth, when Vannesa comes in and being like, "Oh, watch out for Freddy's."
Yeah,
like, he was asleep on the job.
Yeah,
he was asleep on the job. Nothing happened to him. Or did he get a cut maybe or something like that?
When she came in and said that as well, he was like, "Oh, like why?"
That's what I mean.
About?
Yeah.
Also, there was no. Now I think about it. So, one of the biggest spoilers is that one of the kids who was abducted. I don't know if it was inside of the pizzeria, but it was his brother. So was that one of the animatronics?
So that was the thing, like one of the major things was that originally everybody thought that Mike was going to lose his brother in an event called the Bite of 83.
Right.
But we got the Bite of 23.
And this is like a very like massive part of the lore, like the Bite of 83, the Bite of 87, like it's huge. And they kind of do a nod to it, but in the dream sequences, they're just in a barbecue and it doesn't take place in the pizzeria. And I felt I was kind of disappointed in a way because I was like, so much of this should be based around Freddy Fazbear's. And I was like, stop taking us away. And when we say about that first night, and I said my problems with, you didn't ever get to experience a full night at Freddy's. It was like, when we said about the ghost kids, it was like, we kept, instead of going and experience the pizzeria, we kept going away to the ghost kids.
Yeah.
It's just all that. I was like, I just want to spend more time in Freddy's.
Yeah.
So where did we go from there? So we had the ghost kids, the first night.
And then the kids, Max, her brother, and some other people get essentially hired by his aunt to ruin the place as a means to get Mike to lose his job.
And the coffee shop they're at is called Sparky's, which is a nod to the, obviously, FNAF fans will know, the theory that there was a sixth animatronic, the dog.
So there's like a copy pasta of Sparky the dog.
So
and I'm
fan
sure
pleaser thing that they've put in.
I'm sure, like I need to watch the movie again, but I'm sure Sparky the dog is like in, do you know where the torture room thing? I'm sure he was sitting. I was like, because I saw it once and I was like, is that Freddy? And I was like, it doesn't really look like Freddy. It has like long ears. And I was like, it's a dog. I was like, oh my god, is it Sparky's dog? I wasn't sure. But yeah, so in that coffee scene, we have to talk about, we didn't get Markiplier, but we did get MatPat, and he got like a massive ovation in the theatre.
Yeah.
Really and I was like, I couldn't hear what he said. I was trying to listen, so all I heard was,
he was like,
that's just a theory. And it was like, hey!
He's talking about milk or something like that.
It was nice to see him. I'm glad that they got, and obviously they had a wall of YouTubers who've contributed to FNAF as employees of the month on the wall.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So yeah, that was something. We didn't get. So I speculated that Markiplier would appear, but he didn't, and it sort of wanted to get him for FNAF 2. But yeah, so that was a nice scene. So what did you think of that break-in scene?
The breaking scene.
What did you think of the break? What did you think of the break-in scene?
The breaking scene?
Yeah.
You mean the scene where they all go into Five Nights?
To try to mess with Mike.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty okay.
I wanted more from it.
Yeah, I
think it was a bit like, this should be like the first like real like horror. I know it was PG-13, so they couldn't go too far with it, but I wanted a little bit more. We didn't really see anyone like die. We didn't, it was
a lot of jump scares.
We got to give love to Christian Stokes, Hank.
Yeah.
He got a big laugh when he was in the security cam screaming.
Yeah, he did.
He's like, when he ran across the
one that got killed by
Bonnie, and he was in the room and he went like that.
Yeah.
So Christian Stokes, who has probably been like the biggest part of the FNAF community, like he's always tweeting, retweeting art on Twitter and everything. Yeah.
Oh, I kind of thought he seemed a bit out of place. No, as a person, as his like kind of appearance and demeanor.
Okay.
Like he didn't seem like a kid like everyone else.
It was like they brought their light.
He was like an old man. But, like,
I get what you're saying. Like I thought you were thinking back to the Ghost Kids. So no. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like amazing. He's really like lovely in the FNAF community, and I think he got really he got laughs in that when he was doing that, and
I think he did a great job. He
hates you.
Don't hate you.
I think that scene as well really set when Cupcake launched his attack. I was like, oh, okay, this is the sort of tone we're going for as well. This is not going to be
that was the difference between, I don't know, because I was like, that was really the second sort of action horror scene that we got, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. If I'm right, other than sort of the ghost kid bit.
Yeah. And I think
and we missed, just quickly on night one, that was one good shot I just want to touch back on quick, was when they were doing the Foxy kid ghost thing, and then it had come to the real world, and you had Foxy standing in the hallway.
Yeah.
You know, and it flickered. And I was like, I want more of that. Like, like the tension, the suspense, because that's what the game's about. Like,
well, that's one thing that kind of took me out as well. That first time that you see Foxy at the end of the hallway, you're like, right, okay, we're going to get that iconic, run. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you noticed, but I was a bit like, oh, here we go. I was ready, and then it happened, and I was like, oh, okay. For
a game that is all about jump scares, I feel like we're just bad-mouthing the movie. I did like the movie. For a game that's all about jump scares,
there wasn't many.
They weren't very good. I don't think they were very good at operating the jump scare. The jump scare is like the easiest thing to do. And I think Balloon Boy probably had the best jump scares.
I think Balloon Boy and I kind of took that as a little bit of a joke jump scare. I think that's because Balloon Boy,
Who's the cupcake?
They
used that far too many times.
You didn't like the cupcake, yeah.
I thought it was fine.
They could have moved.
It was kind of goofy, wasn't it? It was. Mm-hmm.
Like Foxy's pretty menacing and pretty scary in some ways.
Foxy got a lot of love and show. I think he probably got cast as sort of the best.
Yeah.
The scariest character,
yeah,
really.
And Bonnie, I think, got the most screen time. I don't think Freddy really got its time to shine.
No, I mean, Freddy
didn't really have a massive...
Really didn't do much, did he? God bless him.
I liked that shot of him actually where, jumping forward a little bit, but just touching on Freddy, where Mike was hiding down the side of the stage when it was all kicking off, when Chica was taking Abby away, and Freddy just suddenly, his head turned like that.
Again, yes, and he stopped, and that's the thing that I said.
That's the sort of terror you kind of wanted a little bit more of.
And he stopped, and he was just, when I was like, just at times I just wanted it to. They would go off and do something else, and I was like, if you just let a scene breathe a little bit, and let the atmosphere, do you know what I mean? Just him staring and as a menacing threat, because they were huge creatures.
Yeah. But it was kind of just like Mike just threw water, tasered him, and then it was like, you didn't kind of have time to
I wanted them to be threats, build them up as threats, because there was something I said. I was like, I never. At time did I feel any of the characters were in that big of danger.
No.
Yeah. So we're probably in... Oh, when does Vannesa come back? Have we met Vannesa yet?
Directly afterwards. We've met her.
We forgot. So we've met Vannesa by this point. So Vannesa, what did you think of her character?
Really weird.
Yeah, I think she just... I was kind of just like, just come on, get to the point, get what you're trying to say, spit it out, You obviously know something, and we all know that you know something, and you're just beating around the bush. And Mike obviously knew as well, because he was like, can you just say it? And she's like, no,
she did,
I can't.
Yeah. Is there an aspect of something that she could be revealed in a future film, because what her dad's done to her so bad that it could be worth holding it in?
Yeah, because she said, there was a line where she said something like, because Mike was like, oh, will you come with me? And she was like, you don't want me with you, what was it, like it weren't anywhere for you or something, trust me. So
and he was like, he's really messed you up, didn't he?
Yeah. So there could be something, more to explore there, but I
thought I liked the Elizabeth Lale in the role. It was just some of the writing, I was like, come on, you've obviously got... But really it worked in a way for a second, because I was like, I kind of second guessed her, because I was like, are you going to screw him over? I didn't trust her fully, so that kind of worked. A lot of people thought that
she was working directly with Afton, but obviously that's not the case. She turned out to be his daughter, so that kind of took a different direction as well than we thought was going to happen.
So that worked. Where are we now about? So they go off. So he's got to take Abby to Freddy's now, right? Mm-hmm. and he sets up a little tent for her to sleep in, and she goes off and meets the crew. Yep. He's sleeping.
Yeah.
Has another ghost scene.
Yeah, because she can hear voices and they're
she's
like,
screaming.
"Come with us." Yeah. So
he comes in and...
This is where I was like, I'm here. And then I went down here with this scene.
Mm-hmm.
It really took me out for a minute. Basically,
it was
Abby's
quite shocking
screaming.
what they'd done with the animatronics.
Abby's screaming, so we're like, oh God, like she's about to get her head bitten off or something, you know. Mike comes in, all the animatronics are surrounding her, and she's been tickled. Mm-hmm. She's like, they won't stop tickling me. And they're all just stood there. And Mike comes in really casually, doesn't he? He's like, what's going on, Abby? And she's like, oh, they're my friends.
Well, he does look slightly worried, but not enough so.
Not worried like you'd walk in, there's like...
that they're all like controlled by someone.
Yeah, he's like, you can come out now.
My ghost friends who are tickling me through animatronics.
And
he's like, great, cool.
Yeah, he gets on board with the program quite quickly.
Yeah, and then Vannesa comes in and
because we already know like Abby's kind of weird, don't we? So like Abby's kind of like got that going on. Mm-hmm. So like I can buy that but like she and Vannesa knows something.
Yeah, because she comes in and reveals.
But Mike needed a bigger reaction.
Yeah, he did.
I agree with you.
That needed to be a bigger scene, and then it goes on to they all come together and they're all not friends, and they all make a den, and they're all
this
kind of
like blew my mind. This is when like
my jaw literally dropped.
when they started building a den together. Well, but first let me just say it was really funny when she had her plans for the den and they were all looking over.
Yeah, that was good. Funny, that was good. And she was like, "Oh, it's going to need to be a big den."
I get what they were doing in a way because they were kind of.
But I was just like, "What is going on?"
I know they kind of. I feel like they didn't want to make Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Freddy villains. Mm-hmm. They didn't want them because.
Well, they weren't villains, though, were they? They weren't.
They didn't want to give.
Actually.
They weren't. They didn't do anything. They only done it against people that deserved it.
Yeah, they weren't.
Right.
Just evil for the sake of it. They had like purpose and for what they were doing.
Yeah, they only went after the people that deserved it. Like,
but obviously they seem to like Abby.
That's what annoyed me though, because it was like.
And then they started building
none of them seemed scary because like, we've seen Chica go after someone. Like I wanted, if we had at least one night of building them as these terrifying threats, and then Abby was hanging out with them, we would be like, why are you trusting them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like actually have a bit of. I was never scared that Abby was in their presence.
No,
because I never really saw them do anything that terrifying.
But then you said it's kind of they're doing what they're doing with purpose, but then it's later revealed that Afton's controlling them somehow.
That's right, yeah.
So
the kids, so he's got so that's going to be another theory video somewhere. Someone will explain that. But yeah, the den scene, I mean that's one for the ages.
That was wild. I'd love to know what everyone else thought about that.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that.
That really.
And then they were like all sitting under the stars together.
Yeah, they were all like lit, and he was like, "What is going on?"
This is what I was like. What is this? I did not. No FNAF film in my head would ever have that put into it. Like,
yeah, it did take me out for a minute. I mean, it was just. I think it's because I was just kind of shocked. I was like, "What the hell is going on?" That's what took me out, But yeah, that scene, that shot where they were all looking at the plans, it was like.
It was kind of funny in a way, but I don't know.
But then it's kind of like, did I want that? The comedy aspect, but I don't know. It's
one of them, like I think.
That's what I'm saying about the tone balance. Yeah, it was quite off.
Rewatching it with the tone. It wasn't. I don't know. It's like rewatching it with the tone that you didn't expect, isn't it? So if you rewatch it now, knowing what to expect, would it be a different viewing? I'm not sure. So there's a sequence somewhere in between where Vanessa's in Five Nights, comes to the pizzeria and is involved in making a tent with the animatronics and Abby. And then she takes him outside and says, if you bring her back here, I'm going to shoot you. What the heck? I was like, you were just making tents with them all together. I was like, whoa.
Quickest mind change of the week.
I was like, that's a bit far. You were just all standing there, sitting down, looking at the stars together.
Well, she obviously knew because her dad's Afton, so she's probably like, they're gonna kill Abby if you don't. That's why.
Yeah, but wouldn't she try to get him out pretty quickly?
Well, probably, but she probably thought we're all having a nice time making tents, and then realised.
She was like, I'm gonna shoot you if you bring her back in.
Abby's gonna die, so.
And he didn't really react to that, did he? He was like, oh, well, I guess so.
Yeah, Mr. Serious.
And then she said, and then Abby gets the best line of dialogue. It was like, she looked really angry of you. Why does everybody look at you?
Thank you.
It's like, I was like really taken off guard. It was like that whole sequence. I was like, wait, what the hell's going on with this film? So where do we go from there?
So moving on from that.
Where do we go from there?
Oh no! So yeah, it's like basically the next morning, and he goes. I need you to. I think he calls his aunt, and then she comes over, and then Abby thinks that she's being handed off to her.
Okay, yeah.
And they have an argument, or not an argument, but she's like, oh,
I hate you, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, like I really liked the relationship between Mike and Abby, and she
scribbles out all the pictures.
Okay, so then we now know that Mike's an enemy to the animatronics.
Yeah, that's
and
he has another dream,
and it gives her.
Yeah, because then.
And that was really well shot. That dream. Sorry, carry on.
That's all right.
No, go on.
No, that comes to the next dream sequence, doesn't it? When the kids tell Mike that because he's like, "What do you want? I'll do anything to bring Garrett back or get him back. You know, change the past, whatever." And the ghost kids are like, "We want Abby," and he's like in his state of like. Mind. Yeah. He's not really thinking straight, and he's like, "Yep, you can have her." And then obviously the animatronics are like, "Right, well, we've got." To
touch on that dream sequence quick before you move on, that I really liked the way that last one was shot, and I know I didn't like going into the dream sequences, but they were like when they shot on his younger brother, and they like did it like an angle that made him look like really. Not real and like part of like, the imagination, and like when they looked at the mum as well.
Yeah.
Like I just like the way that shot. I was like, oh, okay, this is very dreamy.
This is not reality.
Yeah. So I did really like that. That final one, I really noticed the cinematography, and I was like, oh, that's really nicely done.
That's the first time we hear Garrett properly like speak, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So then we move on to when does Golden Freddy come to pick up Abby in a taxi?
This is now, isn't it? Because obviously the animatronics have got the hammer, the go ahead from Mike in the dream, and then he's like, "Oh crap, what have I done? I've said they can have her, but I actually don't want them to have her, so he's got to fix that." So.
Is he sleeping again at this point? This guy's always sleeping. It's like, come on.
Her aunt's.
I think just before that is when he gets attacked, and he wakes up.
Oh, he gets roughed up quite a bit there, doesn't he? Which would be nice to actually see the actual animatronics doing some like nasty stuff instead of kids, but
but so, I think he escapes, and then we get to the bit where Abby gets taken by Golden.
So Golden Freddy. So did you when that character came in, that Freddy with the blue eye and like missing parts? What was your perspective on that?
I just thought it was Freddy.
You did normal Freddy, because that's what we said. I was like, I don't know.
What people think. Yeah, because he obviously can't go into the pizzeria, so he just like dropped off in the taxi and then went on his merry way. But that's one thing that I wish we saw in the
law.
That scene as well where Golden Freddy goes to pick up Abby. We didn't see his aunt getting murdered, which is something I'd have wanted to see a bit more of. You know, that could have been a really cool kill scene.
They had to hide around it, didn't they?
They just skipped over that a little bit, so it was a bit like... Oh.
We actually did miss a quite integral kill scene, which was Max, the babysitter, being bitten during the chomped during the, and I think that was actually the best
kill,
best the way it was filmed, the cinematography.
I thought
to get around a PG-13 rating, I was like, looked brutal, and it was clever.
Someone burst out laughing, and
because did you hear them though? They were like, Jesus,
oh,
like
really?
they were because they were laughing because it was like quite brutal.
You've just been sick on me. No, he hasn't.
Oh God, because they thought it was really brutal. So that was almost, I think, was meant to be an Easter egg to the Bite of '83, that event, because that's like the Bite takes place like that.
Because we like joked obviously and been like, the Bite of like
2000,
now.
So that's going to be like probably a crucial thing. But so I just wanted to touch it. So that was I actually like that, and I wish they used more creative ways to do the death scenes if they couldn't go full gore,
rather than just some legs sticking out of a coffee table. You know?
Yeah.
And why did no one question, like, you know, what's his name? Obviously the YouTuber, the taxi driver, Cameo.
Corey.
And he's just kind of like, he was like, why do I always get the weird ones? But it's like, there was no question why there's a giant like animatronic, like, because you see the taxi go down.
I did think that. I was like, maybe he just thinks it's like Halloween costume or something.
She was just like laughing, like, huh, and then
she made me laugh then as well. That's why I really liked her, because she was like really giggling, and she looked like really like
she was just like actually, squashed up.
Yeah, she looked like she was really like having fun. I was like, bless her, she must have had a really nice time making the movie.
Yeah.
She did look like a really like cheeky laugh as well.
Yeah, so. She was great. She was her performance was brilliant, I thought.
So where do we get now? Like, Golden Freddy's picked her up.
Golden Freddy's taxied her to Pete's Bliss, and he's gone off somewhere. And then obviously we go
he can't
inside.
come in. So that was a lovely shot as well, like almost like the most iconic shot of the first ever promotional image we got was those two hands outside the pizzeria. And I thought that was really nice. And she runs in and he's standing there.
Yeah, and she's like, where did he go?
Yeah.
And then he's just gone. So Abby's now inside.
And I mean, there's going to be a ton of theories around who Golden Freddy...
Yeah.
Because I think...
where he's gone.
The brown shirt kid is meant to be Golden Freddy.
Right.
So almost like there's probably maybe got more knowledge than the other kids or something.
It'd be interesting as well to see, because obviously they were all running off in different directions, where, like, if he went like a certain way on his own, did he, or I can't quite think now, but that's probably something to look into when we watch it again.
Yeah.
If there's any sort of...
Oh, well, you mean where he went?
Yeah, you know, when he's a ghost child, if that is Golden Freddy, like, did he run off in a certain way on his own, or...
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
So
people are going to piece that together, aren't they? Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%, yeah. There's got to be stuff like that.
So, obviously, now we're back in the... Well, Abby's now in the pizzeria on her own. Where's Mike at this point?
At this point, he is... saved by what's her name? The
Vannesa. Yeah, and that's when he's like,
right,
you need to help me save...
Also, now we get some lore exposition and it's sort of character development, and we actually find out what Vannesa is up to.
And we find out that William Afton's her dad.
And she says William Afton as well.
Yeah.
Because she was like and I liked the way she was setting it up, actually. I thought that was one of the best deliveries of her character, and she kind of got to the point, she was like, she said something like, my what did she say? Like, he's a very bad man or something. And I was like, oh no, is he? And then she was like, it's my father, William Afton. And I mean, to you,
there was like audible gasps.
Probably
like,
maybe you, I don't know, hearing the name William Afton,
I didn't.
Wouldn't have meant anything.
No.
But I was like, oh,
yeah. You could hear like in the theatre, everyone was like,
so people were sort of worried that, because the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise is kind of family affair about the Aftons, and William Afton being sort of the guy that does everything, and his catchphrase is, I always come back, and which he yelled, so he's always a part of it somehow. So people were worried it wouldn't sort of have the family affair, so we kind of know moving forward. I'm getting the impression that Vannesa, Mike are going to get together, because she got on so well with Abby. I'd be like, oh, you know what, you're really good with my sister.
No, we don't want that. I don't want that.
You're not shipping it?
Oh. I don't want... No, we don't need a romantic subplot. What do we need that for? It's not...
I don't know. I buy them all as a family now.
Nope.
I just didn't want Mike to be the son. I just didn't want Mike to be William Afton's son. Now I kind of like the direction they're going with. She's the daughter. He could be the
she's in hospital.
son-in-law.
She might not even wake up at
She's going to wake up. She's going to be stronger than ever. So where do we go? So now we get into sort of... I would argue the climax. And this film, is... I'm going to invoke... Have I mentioned it in this one or did I mention it in the last video? This was Gremlins. This was... Because Gremlins is very like... You get... and then you get to the third act and you're like, oh, this is brilliant, and that's why you go and rewatch Gremlins again. That's why you're going to rewatch this movie again, because you go to the final act, and when you get there, you think, oh, it was so good. I can watch that film again. So it's all sort of now stuff's finally starting to happen. When did they introduce William Afton, Spring Bonnie? What sort of part of that sequence does he come into? Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
The main villain, the bunny.
The yellow bunny.
Oh yeah. So at certain points, Abby is drawing the yellow bunny, and so he figures out that there's the drawings in a lot of the characters in a lot of drawings. And I think he sees it around the pizzeria.
Yeah.
And they start talking about him, and then he just kind of appears.
What the?
It pops up.
Is that not right? Is that?
That's one way of putting it.
That's, yeah. That's fun. Well, I thought he had quite... I liked his entrance with... when he came out of the tunnel all like curved. We kind of saw it in the trailers. I didn't think in a way... I thought he was like brilliant. Really, really cool.
His costume was so interesting because the animatronics, they did move like animatronics.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of stormed in. It was just like, you could tell that was a person in there, you know? He was like... When
he came in curved, and because I always hate like when they're like, people distort their bodies in a weird way, and I was
he came in really like...
Came like that. And then he kind of lost a little bit of that. And I wish he sort of had a little bit more...
Yeah, he just kind of went into like, boot in. And
but maybe that's because... he is a human in one of these suits.
Yeah.
And maybe when he becomes Springtrap, we're going to get something...
more so of that, yeah.
But I liked... and they quickly knocked off his helmet because they were like, we're paying for Matthew Lillard, so let's make sure we can see the act. And he was like, I've only been in one scene in this movie. Let me have a little bit more screen time.
Get me in there.
And he put his helmet back on before. He was like, come on, like, let me get ready to do my Springtrap stuff. And in the future movies, I'll never get to show my face again. So, so let me at least get a few shots in this movie. But
because that's revealed. That's when it's revealed that he's controlling them all. Because he's like, children, like I've got you a present, basically. Mike, who's like been knocked out by him on the floor. Abby runs over and she's like, oh, Mike. And then Vannesa pops up again with a gun and she's like pointing it. She's like, don't do it, Dad, or whatever. And
so that was quite interesting. They had like a little moment there, didn't they? And they were having like a little back and forth.
Yeah. And because he basically says like, oh, you had like one job to do this and this. And then she's like, that's two. Like Mike said at the
start. Which was a weird line because those two never said that to each other.
No.
Yeah.
They said it in separate times. I was like, I don't like it.
That's
like,
what I mean about the script writing.
Yeah, if Mike had said that to Vannesa and she said it again then, I would have been okay with it. But Mike said that to him. Yeah, and she wasn't involved.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was like, well, why are we all in on this inside joke?
Yeah, how come? Yeah, I didn't.
It sounds like a bad rewrite that they forgot to take out.
I was like, that took me for a second. But I actually did like their sort of interplay for a moment, and they sort of teased the history, and especially in this franchise again, there's going to be so many theories and ways it could, backstories or Peacock series or, do you know what I mean? They could go into like a young Matthew Lillard, deepfaked CGI, terrorizing
so many ways,
you know what I mean? So there's ways to explore that backstory. So we go into
and
sort
obviously
of...
then it's revealed Mike gets up, doesn't he? And he's like, he figures out that he's like to Abby, you need to let your friends know, the animatronics, that it's the yellow bunny. William Afton is basically controlling them.
What did you think about
she draws
how
the
that
picture,
happened?
doesn't she?
In terms of the way she was able to control them.
He was like, you need to draw a photo and show them...
Show your friends.
Yeah, show them what's really happening. And how he's controlling you and how he's the bad guy. Because she just randomly goes up and grabs him.
Yeah, so we've missed a bit again. Again, we'll do a more in-depth, point-by-point breakdown. But we missed a part of... I mean, at one point, Chica took her off, held her hand and took her off to kill her. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, they're listening to what she wants. I mean, there's going to be a way to explain that. Does anybody have a way to explain that?
Well, the way they did it in the film was that she put the picture up on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I guess on the wall it was just pictures of...
I mean, they set up that Bonnie like pictures because Bonnie was given a love heart earlier in the film.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I didn't really make too much sense.
Obviously, that was the whole thing, that they wanted to make Abby like them. So that's what they were doing then.
Yeah.
They were trying to... But yeah, and then obviously the spotlight hit, didn't it, on the picture, and then they all realised.
Get him.
And then it was given like Lion King, Scar and the hyenas.
And then, and it was given like Jurassic Park. I couldn't believe Freddy let out like a...
Roared.
So they took him off and roared.
Yeah. But before that, obviously, we see the spring trap, spring lock situation on Afton, and I thought that was a little bit underwhelming as well.
So again, I mean, the two biggest events in the FNAF lore are probably the Bite of 83 and the spring lock in terms of what we wanted to see in this film. So the final, you know, when he was getting all the spring locks into himself, that was...
I thought that was a little bit underwhelming for what I wanted, but obviously, again, PG-13, they had to take it that...
I mean, it looked better than the 8-bit version we get in the games.
Yeah, obviously.
I wanted to see Springtrap in this film.
Yeah.
When they showed that before, it wasn't a post-credits, I knew we weren't going to see Springtrap.
Yeah.
Because I was like, they're not paying out to make a new costume.
But it's set up for
the post-credits.
Obviously,
so we're going to get
Springtrap
in the next one.
So they dragged him off into the cupboard where obviously he's going to decay for years to come. And...
I imagine because the second FNAF game's a prequel, and then the third one's got Springtrap. I imagine they're going to jump into the Springtrap stuff next.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to go back and do a prequel.
So it'd be like 1, 3, 2 probably.
I mean, what do I know? Everything I predicted is like nothing happened. So like never listen to SLUURP again. But so where else did we go from there? It was like
and then the pizzeria was falling down. Abby.
So interesting that there won't be a pizzeria. That pizzeria, as we know it, probably wouldn't be
we might go to
a location. We might go to a sister location. There might be a security breach. You never know.
And then Vannesa, she's been injured, so she's in hospital.
Okay, so that's something we'll speculate until the next film comes out for years to come. We'll be like, probably, I imagine 2025 or something. We'll be like, what's going to happen with Vannesa?
Because she's in hospital, she's asleep, not asleep, in an induced coma or whatever. So it's like, is she going to wake up?
And Mike and Abby on good terms finally. They're sort of seeing eye to eye, which is nice. I like the idea of them moving forward as a bit of a team. And Piper Rubio will age up a little bit, so her performance as Abby next time around will be she'll be slightly older, so that'll be interesting. And I'm also interested to see how they involve the characters in this story again. I guess because it's a family affair in a way.
They'll be able to like expand past the games as well, you know, eventually.
Oh god, I mean, it's meant to make its money back times 4 in its first weekend.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
we're going to get films till the end of time.
And then they walk off, and then we get a post-credit scene.
We do.
Before that, we get Living Tombstone, 5 Nights at Freddy's in the credits, so that was lovely.
A lot of people wanted.
That's
another fan pleaser.
Yeah, and then we go to the end credit scene.
Which I was
thinking Springtrap.
I thought the puppet.
We was getting one of the two, and we ended up getting
Balloon Boy.
Balloon Boy.
So he's, you know, going to have his time to shine. Because you thought he was going to be coming through the vents, didn't you, potentially, as well?
I did, yeah. Because I looked at you, didn't I?
Like, no one's coming through the vents.
I was like, when he was crawling through the vents at that part, and he was just like... Because in the trailers, they made it like he was moving really fast, and I was like, what the hell is he getting away from?
But he was just trying to get in.
And then I looked at you, I was like, no one's coming off. No one's in the vents. So...
yeah,
or Mangle, I thought, or something. But a Balloon Boy. And I liked the way they depicted Balloon Boy, almost like as a McDonald's.
Yeah, it was quite comical. Like the way
it's like
I think his jump scares were some of the
best.
The best.
So I think that pretty much wraps up the whole movie. I think, do you have any closing thoughts, theories, speculation? As a person who is not in tune with the lore and stuff, what would you give yourself as a spoiler send-off to this movie? What would you tell other people who are not fans of FNAF franchise to think about this film?
I don't know. The animatronics are really cool. I like them a lot.
As a fan of the franchise, as someone who's been following it for months to come now, what were your final sort of thoughts on the movie?
I think going with an open mind, don't expect that you're going to get everything from the game. I think you need to remember that obviously this has been made definitely for the fans, but obviously they've had to cater to the casual moviegoer and horror fan, you know, so they need to make it not too complicated and, you know, really set the scene. So just going with an open mind, don't think you're going to get blood, gore, horror, all of that. It really is PG-13. Yeah, just enjoy it. And
lots of people enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We had someone special in our screening as well. We don't talk about that.
I don't talk about that.
We didn't have anyone special.
I'm cutting around anyway, it's fine.
Right.
I need to cut a lot of your bits out.
Is there anything else I want to say? Hang on.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our spoiler discussion for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. What did you think about all the spoilery goodness that happened in the movie? What do you think of Vannesa being William Afton's daughter? What do you think of Balloon Boy cameoing in the movie? Give me another spoiler thing that I can say. Any and all thoughts, leave them in the comment section down below. And make sure you subscribe and check out more Five Nights at Freddy's content here on the SLUURP YouTube channel.
Bye.
Bye.
Monsters, tell me, do you believe in those monsters? I'm talking dreams so big that